Welcome to the Tactical Business Podcast. I am your host, Wade Skalsky, and today we're speaking with Tom Denniston of Fort Thompson Sporting Goods. Tom, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm excited to talk to you. You were kind enough to reschedule from yesterday. I was a little under the weather, but I'm feeling a lot better today. Let's talk a little bit about how did you arrive at the business that you're in now? Like, give me a little bit of a backstory into how did you get into the sporting goods business?
I'll be glad to tell you. I kind of started, I'm an older guy. I'm 64, be 65 here in a couple of, about 2 months, I get 4 months in July. I started one of my best friends when I was a kid, like in grade school and stuff. My best friend, his dad had a grocery store. And back then, it was just most grocery stores sold ammunition. And then finally, he kind of moved into the sporting goods stuff a little bit. We sold a few waders. Back then, we sold buckshot. You buy one buckshot. We sold them by the shell. A lot of people do that. And also, too, back then, when people went to deer camp, it was a big deal. So they'd close school down and stuff. So basically, we'd work there and people would come in and get the groceries and get shells. And finally, he got more moved into the sporting good part of it, selling a few guns. Clothes back then was not a big deal. Basically, it was just we sold waders. We're not very far from Stuttgart. So basically, we were on the way to Stuttgart from Little Rock. So it wasn't that big a deal to pull over there and, get stuff from us and go on down and go duck hunting. That was the big deal in Arkansas. And so basically we started there, all through high school. I worked for him part-time, and then I went to college, University of Arkansas. I graduated there. His son, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I got my securities license and sold bonds for a while in Little Rock. And then his son decided he was going to be a preacher. So he went to seminary. And then I went to work for him full time. And I was at the point, he was like 55. He was at the point. I told him I can do this for a couple of years. If not, I'm going to go in the Air Force or do something different. I got to make some money. So he said, I'll just sell it to you. I didn't have no money, zero money. I lived in a rent house. Rent was $80 a month. Had a 2-wall unit for air conditioning, had a kid, and my wife was going to school. So basically it started then, and we added on one time. We started selling a few pistols, but we kept all the guns. Like back in this was an old grocery store. So they used to live by it. They had like a house connected to it. So we kept our guns in the bedroom back there. It was crazy. So eventually we did that for a couple of years. And this is back to like in 83 and 84. And then finally he said, if you want to buy it, I'll finance you. And he said, let's build a store. So spring 1985 come up. We ordered a bunch of logs from Idaho. And you can see all this stuff on the website too, to see pictures of it. We built a 4,000 foot store. And when I started, there wasn't no such thing as deer stands. I'm not sure if you remember, but the first climbing deer stand was a Baker deer stand. I don't know if you ever heard of those or not, but that was the first climbing deer stand there was. There wasn't no gun safes. There wasn't no camouflage. There wasn't no limb choke. It was just basically people shooting lead shells at ducks. And we sold a few waders, marathon waders, and Hodgman waders. So when I got in, I'm not saying I was lucky, but I timed it perfectly when I got in. I remember the first time the guy walked in my store selling mossy oak camo. First time it ever come out. And back then I'd go on trips with Toxie Hayes, and because it was brand new, everything was brand new. And once we started, we were at that place for I think 10 years, and I added on another little section. We were in the rough part of town. We were in kind of the bad part of town. So we added on, and just business grew. When I first started, it was me and one girl. It was 2 people. So basically I had to work. We was open 6 days a week. So I had to work every day. I went hunting a lot, but I went hunting. I had the guy I bought it from, Thompson. He'd come in and fill in for me, but I always had to hunt and be back by 10 o'clock. So basically it was just a 2-man show. And finally I hired a man, another one of my best friends. He started working for me. And then we grew that. And then we got to the other stage, and that's when duck hunting, that's when the video started up. That's when everybody really got interested in hunting and stuff. Basically, that's what put hunting on the map. The videos, is most people didn't really understand what it was all about.
Yeah, if you don't grow up in a hunting culture, right? So like I grew up in North Dakota, so it's a hunting culture. And if your dad's not teaching you or an uncle's not teaching you how to hunt, it's not, not very many people naturally gravitate towards it unless they're
Mhm.
exposed to it, So I can see. What year was that you would say the video started to come out?
I don't know. I think it was in the 90s, I think, wasn't it?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you had to buy tapes. I mean, the Real Tree Outdoors, that was a big deal. People, every week, people watch it on TV. And this is all before the internet stuff.
Right.
And then it come to the point we grew, and back then we bought from distributors. You bought a little bit of stuff direct, but the big accounts you bought through distributors. And our biggest competitor back then was the box stores, Kmart, Walmart, bunch of different other ones. Oshman's, I don't even remember Oshman's or not, or there's a bunch of different ones that were around back then. And the smartest thing I ever did in my life was I joined a buy group. And a buy group was, I'm in Sports Inc., which is like 3 major buy groups in the United States. But I'm in Sports Inc., which is one of the major ones, then MBS. And basically what happens there, we put all our eggs in a bucket and we negotiate programs with the vendors so we get a better price.
So let me
And basically, so
let me stop you right there
go
because
ahead.
this is the second time actually that I've interviewed someone that I've talked about a buy group, and it's not something that I'm super familiar with. So one of the reasons why like Walmart, for example, can get such an advantage on price is because they buy so much, right? So they have so much volume, they
That's
can
correct.
negotiate a better price. Is the way that I understand it, does a buy group kind of do the same thing where it's like you have a bunch of people get together, pool their resources, and then they can leverage that resources to get a better deal? Is that how that works?
That's how that works. Basically, and also too, uh, these vendors like Leopold scopes, who wants to sell their scope that can actually be, you don't want to buy a Leopold scope at Walmart. You want to buy it from actually a dealer that actually has people that work for them that can mount the scope and knowledgeable about it. And that's the key as far as fighting the big box stores and stuff, was basically we finally got on that boat. Our prices were competitive and we did all that. That was the key of that starting.
So when you
A
do a
lot
buy,
of other stuff happened. I'll tell you what happened after that in a minute, but keep on going.
no, go ahead.
Then the next big hurdle for us was basically the internet.
Mhm.
And that's still a big hurdle for us. And it first started, it wasn't that big a deal, but now distributors are basically, I wouldn't say they're our enemies, but they're basically anybody, if you wanted to, anybody can get an FFL, they're like $80. There's nothing to them to getting one. And then you could sell guns with a website through that, and they will drop ship it for you for a fee. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they had to ship it to a dealer, like to receive it, to a FFL to receive it, which it's called a transfer. So that's the biggest hurdle. And the same thing with scopes. Uh, it's just if the scopes have MAP and they really monitor their prices, retail prices, you can still make money on them. But basically, what we do, we pretty well stay away from the people that do not monitor that. So we pretty well stay the top brands that actually that want to get their merchandise in a place like ours or other big stores that are actually in business. They're not some garage guy that's got something going on or something like that. So that's been the key for us, is having good people that work for you, knowledgeable people and honest people, and that are hunters. So, and I'll just be honest with you, if a guy wants to start a sporting goods store now, I would not advise it. I mean, unless you're actually it's about like getting into the website business. It's about like you didn't organically grow it, probably. It's hard to make any money on it. That's what I've come up with.
Yeah, it's like the barriers to entry are easy, but there's a lot of entrenched players right now that have been doing it like you guys since like 1984, so they have all that institutional knowledge. I'm wondering, one reason why I'm always like really big on brick and mortar though, and you touched on it, is that yes, you can probably get a little bit better price sometimes on something on the internet from another vendor or whatever, but it doesn't. In something especially like for firearms, it takes a little bit of time to figure out which is the best firearm for you, right? Like when I first started really getting into handguns, for example, what I thought I was going to be purchasing and what I ended up being purchasing was completely different because I didn't know what I didn't know. And it would so help so much to go to a local store or meet to somebody and shoot a few different guns. And the internet, that is an advantage that box stores can always have over the internet. Is that something in terms of like customer service and the sort of the knowledge of what you have? Do you find that that's an edge that you guys have right now?
Oh yeah, we have people come in, don't have no clue, and they also want to be actually kind of a little demo of what's going on and advise them to go get take lessons and get a concealed carry. But yes, that is a big deal. But people, the deal about guns and stuff, there's not big markup in guns. People think that you're making. We basically mark all our stuff up on the rack 15%. And the time you pay your credit card fee, let's say 2%, 2.5% on that, then pay your people, you're not making a lot of money. It's
Right.
basically done by volume. A lot of people say, well, I'm gonna get in the gun business. I'm gonna make a bunch of money. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So you can't make 15 points. That's like making, 0 on something pretty well.
Yeah. Well, and
It's a basically a volume deal. Now, accessories and stuff, but the guys selling accessories and stuff, there's more markup in scopes and stuff.
yeah, that's the one thing that I've talked to, which is consistent that everyone says about starting a gun store is that the markup on guns is not very big, but the guns are the core business, and then they'll have the accessories, they'll have the suppressor, they'll have the range on site or something like that. That the gun is the
Mhm.
draw. And the other thing about guns too, and I've always thought about this, is that you're not there's not a lot of recurring purchases on a gun, right? Like you're not buying a gun. Most people don't buy a new movement, like hunters, for example. You get your rifle, you get your gun, your handgun, whatever. Like you're not buying a new gun every single year. Some people are, but like I'm a casual gun owner. So for me, but I do spend money on clothes every year. I do spend money on ammunition. I do spend money on all those collateral things that you're talking about. And so that is one thing I think that people really need to think about if they want to start just like a straight gun store.
Well, you got to have other stuff beside guns. Holsters. We
Right.
sell gun safe. We sell waders. We sell everything that you can imagine. You also got to have good brands. To sell stuff. You can't just have back in the old days. Remember, it was like Walls coveralls.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember them or not, but that's not cool no more. So basically, you got to have the cool stuff. And you're seeing our market change to a younger crowd versus the older people my age and stuff that used to hunt. They keep stuff for 20 years. Now these guys, young guys, and they buy new stuff every year because some new camo will come out or
Yep.
Gore-Tex is different on it. So it's one of them deals.
Yeah, I'm 52. I'll be 53 this year, so we're close in age, and from that perspective, in terms of how we approach it. Like I don't buy anything new. I just use the same thing 100 years if I could, right? But I think I think you're right. I think it's generational. Um,
It is
that,
generational. Like I said, I got a son that actually runs my store now. I'm here all the time, but they got to have the best looking stuff there is. And I drag out my old stuff. He says, Dad, why don't you get you something new? I said, man, this is fine. I'm good. I mean,
if it
whatever.
works, right? If it works, keep using it. How and that's a good question. So I think inventory selection, you guys have been in business for a long time, right? So you've seen a lot of the different, yeah, a lot of different trends. And I think inventory can really trip people up in terms of if you're gonna have a retail store, a brick and mortar store. So walk me through a little bit the process that you guys use so like how do you pick your vendors? How do you pick like what to keep in stock, what not to keep in stock? How do you keep an eye on the trends? Like is it a feel thing? Is it more art than science? Like, how do you guys approach that problem?
Well, like I said, I'm in the buy group, which helps. But the key to anything as far as being successful in our business, you got to have inventory. I mean, I buy inventory now, and I'm lucky I don't have to borrow no money. I pretty well been in business long enough I can just finance myself. I don't
Mhm.
have, but if you had to go to a bank and borrow money, you borrow a couple $1 million in inventory or $3 million for the inventory, you couldn't make it. I hate to tell them that, but they can't. The only exception to that, I'll tell you, is during the COVID years. If you was in the COVID year, you could sell anything. I could have my dog sell guns, and she'd sell all she could sell. But
Right.
that's changed. The way the trend is now, it's going back to normal and stuff. So politics is really it's played a big part in some of it sometimes with ARs and stuff. But with Trump, and I think the future of that is it's not going to be that way.
Yeah, everyone talked about the Trump slump the first time. Are you guys seeing that now? I mean, it's early. It's only March. It's only been a couple months, but do you think that's going to happen again? Do you think kind of that because it is funny how people buy based on fear, and if you have
Mhm.
an administration in there that's not gun friendly, gun sales coincidentally go up, right? And if you have someone in there that is gun friendly, they don't sell as much. Are you seeing that this now with Trump now, or is it kind of the
This
same?
this The last crazy stuff was 5.56 and 223 and 22 long rifle. When that went on and stuff, people basically bought the basic stuff: buckshot, uh, 5.56. pointed long rifle, but all that has changed now. Basically, since all that stuff. That's back probably in the when was that? Probably 2000.
19.
I can't go back. Anyways, it was going on for about 3 years there when I think Hillary was supposed to be elected, I think, and something like that. It was, but anyway, so political environment does affect that.
Yeah, I mean,
They're still having problems.
even I was. You're okay. You're okay. We got you. We got you. Even I was buying more ammunition before, before the election for Trump. I just thought I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was like, I thought that there was a high chance for political violence, and then there was the assassination attempt, and then I didn't know what was going to happen, so I bought more ammunition, and I'm a pretty chill person from that perspective. So, all right, so then from you're self-financing your own inventory, obviously your buying group helps with regards to that. I mean, do you listen to your customers in terms of what to buy, or is it something where you just kind of know the trends and they buy what you put out there? Like, how does that work?
We're pretty well stuck on name brand stuff. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
off brand stuff, yes, you can make some money. But take for example, like we don't sell the what's it called, Drago, I think the
Mm-hmm.
Century Arm. We don't sell those because most time you get something like that, you get a trade something. I'm just not going to mess with stuff. So I don't want to have any problem. I mean, my problem is I don't want to sell nothing that would be that I want to go shoot myself. There's nothing wrong with having one. I'm do what you want to, but the
Right.
people that were buying them and stuff, I thought were not using for the right reason and stuff. So we pretty well try to stay with name brand stuff on the top end we can. We sell TARS, which sells great, but we don't sell high point.
How big is your store? How many square feet is it?
We're about 30,000.
Well, it's pretty big, man. Isn't that stressful? I'd be so stressed out all the time. It's like so much floor space, but I guess you built up to that. How big was your original store?
4,000.
Real. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, do you only have the one location?
One location.
Wow, that's really unusual. So you have like the one location, you built it up. It's a big store. 30,000 is pretty big. Do you have any plans to expand it? Like, or where are you guys at?
The problem with that is getting people to run it that you can trust.
Mhm.
I mean, we're in Arkansas, and people drive 200 miles to come to us.
Mhm.
Basically, if you come to us, we're a one-stop shop. We can whatever you want, we can do it. We don't do gunsmithing. We don't have a gun range. That's another story. But anyway, we don't have a gun range in Arkansas. Pretty well, you can go shoot your gun. Just drive 10 miles and go shoot it somewhere.
Yeah, like it's easy to just walk out your back. A lot of people just walk out their backyard and shoot in Arkansas. That's what's nice about down there.
Yeah, that's what they do. But it's been good. I mean, I can't complain. It's just, I mean, yeah, we could open another store up, and the good Fayetteville, Arkansas is a growing place. That's where Walmart is, and all the big places, Tyson, all them people are at. But I look at it one time, but the businesses, as far as the hunting business, is not there. Yeah, you can sell some pistols and stuff, but the more hunting is more toward South Arkansas in eastern Arkansas for duck hunting and deer hunting.
That's what I mean, and that again is it seems to me where you're at geographically is you're perfectly suited to do hunting, right? Because it's so much of a hunting culture. There's so many opportunities to hunt around where you are, and that the geography has really assisted you in being successful. Would you think would you say that that's true?
That is definitely true, but also too, we sell a ton of handguns. We sell
Mm,
more handguns probably than we do rifles and shotguns.
mm,
We keep we got a wall, we keep about 500 on there.
mm.
It's crazy,
Uh,
but people get just impressed that they come in, and we pretty well got the inventory you want, and you can show people different items and stuff.
Sorry, I had to sneeze there. And then so for the handgun perspective, since you are more, it seems you're more hunting centered. Do you do training classes for the handguns, or how does that how does that work? Is that something that you offload to somebody else, or is it you just strict kind of like we're just going to sell you this gun?
We off sell it somebody. I'm actually an instructor, been an instructor for a long time, but I did it just to say I would. But there's a gun range right down the road. It's expensive and stuff, but I try to send people down there, or there's some other guys that I know are more kind of just laid back guys that can really spend time with someone to learn how to shoot a pistol. That I try to send people to people like that are really just laid back. There's not people firing guns around you. You can actually go out and spend time with somebody.
Yeah, I mean that is the one that is the biggest thing for me is for handguns especially. I mean, I grew up with shotguns and rifles, but handguns take a lot of, they take a lot of practice to get, proficient and safe at them, right? And so I think it's really good that you encourage people to take that training.
Mhm.
Um, and it is interesting that you sell a lot of handguns because you're not a straight gun store. Um, like you're more like you said, you're more of a hunting store and sporting goods.
Well, I say that, but like you said, guns, firearms bring people to us, and
Yeah.
then they shop after that. But we're kind of different. Arkansas is a big waterfowl state, so we sell a lot of steel shotguns, Benelli, Beretta, and stuff like that. And it all goes together. And you got the tactical guys that come in and buy stuff. It's just we try to do everybody right. The guys I have that run the pistol counter, they're all good with that stuff. They know a lot more about the tactical stuff than I do.
How many
So
people does it take to run a store like that, like during the day? Like
we
how many
got
people?
about I think I think 24.
24 people on the floor?
No, well, not on the floor to count everybody in the back and everything. Probably on the floor, got eight, probably 12, 12,
That
maybe 15.
that's a big team. Like how do you and the human element is extremely important to the success because you say, people are driving 200 miles to meet you. You guys are customer service is paramount, right? So how do you find people for the team? Now, when it was just you and it was smaller, you could hire your best friend, right? Well, you run out of best friends to hire, right? Pretty quick as you grow. So
Mhm.
how do you handle those labor challenges? Like how do you pick who's going to be on the team? Do you have a sort of like guiding principles for that?
The labor thing is hard. You just got to find the right person that fits in. And to be honest with you, most of the people that come back to that work for me now, they were customers.
Interesting.
So some are retired, some are retired from the Air Force. So we got a big Air Force base up the road here, Jacksonville Air Force Base,
Hmm.
230 base.
Hmm.
And most of the guys just, some don't work full time, but I also pay them well. You work full time, you get a 401k, you make good money, you get insurance. I pay for their insurance. And so pretty well you got to pay a little extra money to get the good guys. And my biggest struggle is to find the other people to work in the other part. That's the hardest part. My people working clothes and stuff like that.
Oh, I see. Like the more like straight retail side of
And
things.
also too, another problem is most guys who like to sell guns, yes, they like to hunt too.
Mhm.
Well, in retail, you got to work on Saturday. I'm
Right.
sorry, I don't know what to tell you. And you get off some Saturdays, but I did it all my life. About the last 5 years, I don't work on Saturday, but I did it for 40 years. It ain't like I hadn't done it before. So,
Mhm.
and we don't open at night. No, we can open at night. We don't. We run from 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday. And I get people all the time. What do you do? Why don't you open on Sunday? Why don't you open at night? I said, I've always said that you will train your customers to come to you when you're open.
I want to ask this question, and then we'll kind of talk about what's next for you guys, and how people can find you. Why do you think people drive 200 miles to get to you? Because I'm sure they have other options than driving to see you for 200 miles. Why do you think people come so far to see you?
We've been around for a long time, and we have noted for being good prices, uh, good customer service, and have product. It's not like you come in the door, well, I got to order them rings for this gun to come back in 2 days.
Mm.
And basically, we have the product. I've been very fortunate with that, with our volume that we can buy, and we keep stuff in inventory. That we have a good rep on that.
Yeah, I think what's really great for your business is it's a mature business, right? So your business is kind of like the end point that a new business would strive to. Like you're entrenched in the community, you've got a long track record, you've got capital to do what you need to do, you kind of have things on autopilot in terms of how things work. And I think that's great. Like there's not a lot of businesses still around out there like your business, right? Um, so what's the plan for you guys for the next, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Are is there like a succession line in place?
No, I'm always going to do something. I mean, eventually I'll probably right now if I want to go do something, I just go do it. I got a great manager named Raymond, and I just got good people to work for me. I trust them all, and they don't steal. It's just I've been very fortunate and keeping good people and stuff. And my son, uh, he went when he was growing up. I always told him go do his own deal. I mean, you go, don't worry about the store. You go do your frat party in and do all that stuff and get that out of your system. And then he got his MBA, and I didn't think, I thought he was gonna be a lawyer actually. And then he said, I think I'm interested in the store. I said, well, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get a job being a rep. So he was a Sig Sauer rep for like 3 years. He traveled 7 states. So he earned his marks by doing that. And that has helped him so much as far as seeing how other businesses run and learning the industry.
Yeah, my dad had a construction business, and he told me the exact same thing. He said, "You just go do whatever you want. Don't worry about the business." And I actually went and became a lawyer, right? Which is funny that you said that your son was going to become a lawyer. And but I often wonder if I would have done the family business. I think I would have been happier doing the family business than going to be a lawyer, to be honest with you. So I think it's really cool that your
Yeah.
son's doing the business with you.
It's feeling, and I hope to carry it on. I mean, he's got two girls and a son, and I hope they do carry it on. I'm good. I just want to hunt and fish and buy a new truck about every 3 years, and I'm good, bud.
Just like my dad.
And seriously, I'm not a big fancy guy that goes crazy. I'm just down home and I enjoy life. So
That's great. Well, I really
it's
enjoyed
based around the outdoors, basically fishing, hunting, going to the lake with my grandkids, and doing stuff like that.
keeps you young.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been great to talk to you today. The website is ftthompson.com, Fort Thompson Sporting Goods. Are you guys on social media at all? Can people find you, or is it just go to the website?
No, we do. We do Facebook, Instagram, the TikTok.
And just search for Fort Thompson Sporting Goods in there, and you'll find them.
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, Tom. Well, listen, man, I've really enjoyed talking to you today. Don't hang up once I stop the recording. All right. But I'd love to, get back in touch with you and have you on the show again and just see where you guys are in 6 months or a year from now. It'd be great.
Yeah, I need to talk to my son sometime and see his perspective on it.
I'd
lore, so
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. We'll get him
he
on the
can
next
tell you
show.
how he walked into this.
We'll
We
get-
come a long way, and I've been real fortunate, and I've been blessed on that. So I promise you, I've been blessed. So
That's great.
That works.
That's great. Well, we'd love to have your son on the next time, and thanks again for coming on the show.